Hello, and welcome to the all-new Marvel Roundup, the Southgate Media Group's guide to the Marvel Comics of the week. As always, I am Phil Parrish, and joining me is...
Charlie Esser!
Alright, I will open up this week, start with my X-Men books, so I guess I'll go to All New Wolverine number 13.
Yay!
It opens up with Laura in the middle of like a burning town, and everyone's dead.
That can't be good.
Yeah, I know. So then they flash back to 3 days ago. She's talking to her young clone, Gabby, and she's saying, they're talking about taking the vacation. She's like, it's not safe here anymore because they just got a mystery package. Burglars have come. They've been invaded by S.H.I.E.L.D. Squirrel Girl showed up in the middle of the night, and she says that, as we saw in the annual, she had her mind teleported into another body in another dimension. Spider-Gwen. So Laura opens the package.
When did that happen?
In the All New Wolverine annual.
Did we review that? Or was that this week?
No, I reviewed it, yeah.
Wow, I do not remember that at all. Okay. That must have been that week. It had so many books. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, it might have been a big week. Yeah, so Laura opens the package, and it's a green vow. It says trigger on it, and she tells Gabby, get that away from her. She says, we're leaving right now. I guess they were going to leave earlier. So they get in a car that she borrowed from Warren Worthington, the young Warren Worthington. So they take off. I guess they're going to a cabin she says Logan had.
That's a weird question. How does young Warren Worthington have any money?
I don't know.
Because, his father said, well, I guess you're my son again, so okay, here's your inheritance again. Or is he just using all the old accounts, and they just have never changed their accounts over the last decade?
I'm guessing unless all you need for access is like a fingerprint or something.
Yeah, I would think that some of the Worthingtons might be a little, hey, dude, no double dipping.
So they take off for this cabin of Logan had, and Gabby's asking Laura about the whole trigger thing, and Laura tells her about how she was born into a cell. She says the facility turned me into a weapon. They taught me to kill, and she says, in the guarantee I wouldn't let compassion stand in the way of assassination. They did things to me, they programmed me, and they created a scent to control me, a trigger scent. She says, when I smell it, everything goes black, and when it lights again, everyone's dead. She says she can't fight it. They made her... Yeah, they made her kill her own sensei and her mother. That's what she tells her. Her aunt and her cousin took her in. And she was saying about, but then Kimura found her, and Gabby says, who's Kimura? And Laura says, she was my handler. She's the cruelest, most sadistic creature I've ever encountered. The facility made her to break me. So they get to Logan's cabin, and obviously no one's been there for a long time.
This is the one where Logan's in the basement, right?
I don't know, because they never say anything about a basement.
Okay.
I don't know, because it doesn't look like doesn't look like Logan was even cleaning. No one's cleaned up here in a while.
Yeah. But we went to one of Logan's cabins a while ago where they went to the basement, and that's where the body of Logan, still most likely alive, encased in adamantium. And why is no one thinking that? It's like, oh yeah, he's probably still completely alive in there. We just need to get that adamantium off his skin, and he'll be fine. You know?
Well, a couple months before they trapped him in the adamantium, his healing factor went away. So I don't know. I mean, if they want to bring him back eventually, I'm sure the healing factor is gonna.
The healing factor is tied to the spirit of Gaia, Mother Earth, and so if Gaia wants him back, he's back.
Huh? All right.
That's canon.
Okay. And so they're at the cabin. The power goes out, and Laura checks the fuse box. Everything looks fine. So she leaves Gabby Gabby in the cabin. She goes to town to check it out, and I guess the guy who runs the gas station and his son come out. They say the power's out for the whole town, and Laura's like, "You hear that?" They're like, "What?" She's like, "Planes." She's like, "They're water bombers," and the guy says, "There must be a fire." She says, "It's raining, and I don't smell a fire." And Charlie, they don't empty water. What do they empty out of it? There's at least 3 or 4 planes.
Terrigen mist.
Trigger scent.
Oh, well, that's not good.
No, because she tells him evacuate. She's like, the whole town, you have to get away from me before it's too late. And the kid says, "Are you okay?" And she says, "I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I came here." And she pops the claws. And then the last page is just her going, "It's too late."
Oh, my.
This must be why it's Enemy of the State 2.
Okay.
But it was good. Thumbs up.
Man, that trigger set. What is that trigger set? Because they sure made a lot of it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Because like I guess they modify it, when they created it or they made it so it would, controller. But yeah, I don't know. It just looks like a green mist.
It's just pumpkin spice. That's all it is.
It is October.
Yeah.
But no, I like this issue, especially since like I didn't read like the early issues of X-23, so it kind of gave me some of her origin. It was pretty good.
Very cool.
All right.
You know where X-23 is rumored to be showing up?
What, the Logan movie?
That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
Either that or it's Deadpool's baby hand. We're not sure.
All right.
What's your next book?
Then I'll do my other X book, Death of X #1.
Yay!
And you said you had a chance to peek at this.
I did get a chance to go through that book. Yeah. You do your review, and then I'll give my thoughts because I thought there was an interesting thing, and I got to wonder about something, and we'll talk about that in a sec.
Okay. Well, this takes place a year ago. Old Cyclops and his team, including the Black Queen and her Emma Frost. The White Queen, her cuckoos. Gold balls from this Spider-Man book.
Hey, gold balls. Someone just likes writing the word gold balls.
Who's writing this?
Because we're all 12. Because we're all 12.
Gold balls. So they got a distress call from Mirror Island from Jamie Madrox. And then over Japan, Crystal and some of the Inhumans are waiting for the Terrigen Cloud to hit. I guess they said there's like about most of the population decided to stay, about 200,000, so they're all excited that people are embracing like the maybe becoming an Inhuman.
Well, yeah, because if you're a human, it's completely cost neutral. It's like, oh, if I get exposed to this and I don't have Inhuman powers, then nothing happens. And if I got that, apparently 1 in 1,000 chance or 1 in 10,000 chance of which is better than the lottery, and I may walk out of this with superhuman powers and get to be hideously deformed. A win-win.
Yeah. So
they don't end up as like his furniture. It's always good. That's always that that Aldrich the gateway thing. It's like your architecture.
Yeah. So yes, they're waiting for that, and then on Mirror Island, Cyclops and his team show up, but things are looking pretty bad. It's all misty all over the place. They find some blood on the ground. Cyclops starts having a coughing fit.
As you do.
And they find a dead mutant with boils all over him. Then back in Japan, there's at least one Terrigen cocoon, but who shows up, Charlie?
Oh, Hail Hydra!
Yep. So we get a big Hydra and human fight. Back on Mirror Island, they're looking for Madrox. They find him. Most of his doubles are like all dead.
That was actually a very interesting scene for me because he says, "I'm the original Madrox."
Mm-hmm.
And what was weird to me is like all of Madrox's doubles can make doubles, right?
I believe so. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I think his
Yeah,
doubles can make doubles. I mean, I
yeah,
think
because I
his.
know he has one double who's actually like a farmer,
Mm-hmm.
and then he's got another double who's an agent out in L.A.
Yeah, I think he had one who was like a priest.
Yeah, so he's
Yeah.
got doubles that have just gone off and lived their own lives, and they are. So what does it mean to be the original Madrox, really? Like all the other, or yeah, I mean, did the other doubles die now, or are they just fine? You know, I mean, that's weird. I don't know.
And Cyclops is like, who did this? And he's like, you don't understand. It's the Terrigen Mist did this. And so Cyclops and Emma Frost and everyone back to the plane. Cyclops calls Hank McCoy. Then Cyclops passes out.
Yeah, which is one of the things that I kind of wonder about with this. Well, so he's talking to Hank McCoy, and Hank McCoy's, being rational and intelligent about this. And so, I mean, but when he comes to, that's when he's all, we have to destroy the Inhumans. They lied to us. And it's like, no, they didn't. And I'm wondering if maybe he's got a little Mpox on the brain.
Mm-hmm.
Or if there might be some other nefariousness going on there, maybe with Emma Frost. Who we all know is all evil and whatnot. So, interesting. I don't know. I'm wondering if that's sort of the thing. Maybe he's been driven insane by it.
Yeah. You would think because Cyclops has been with Emma Frost for a couple years now.
Yeah.
And back to the Inhumans fighting Hydra. Crystal gets shot in the shoulder. And then an Inhuman with blue hair comes out of the cocoon and helps them take down Hydra.
Yeah, he's got like mesmerization powers with laser beams, where he like puts you in like a stunned stasis field or some kind of thing, which is useful.
Mm-hmm. And then the end of the issue here, Cyclops is conscious again, and Tim and Emma are telling the X-Men about the Terrigen Mist, and then we see Crystal and the Inhumans cleaning up and meeting the new Inhuman, and it ends with Cyclops telling the mutants and Crystal telling the Inhumans the same thing: we protect our own.
Yeah, well, and that's sort of this thing is that the Terrigen Mist is giving life to the Inhumans, and it's bringing death to the mutants, and and rather than try to figure out how can we solve this problem and talk it out like rational adults, we're gonna punch each other. Punch, punch, punch. We will punch you until the problem's solved. Because clearly killing the Inhumans will solve the problem of a Terrigen Mist killing mutants. Wait, no it won't. Because you'd be getting into all the leading experts on Terrigen Mist. So
Hank McCoy will find a cure.
Well, obviously Hank McCoy's going to find a cure. He's going to find the cure in the next hour. Like Marvel time, which will be like 6 months from now. But yeah, it's like pretty obvious that Hank McCoy's the one guy who's like, I'm talking to Inhumans because they've got all the data on Terrigen Mist and how it works. So if they want to find a cure, probably need to work with them. Probably need to not be a freaking crazy terrorist blowing everyone up. Just a thought there. Slim. I like calling him Slim.
So, Charlie, what's your first book?
Oh, okay. Well, as you may recall, last week I forgot to pick this book up. Kingpin, Civil War #2, issue 3. And this is really interesting to me because we see Kingpin later on this week in Spider-Man, and it's got me wondering if like the events we're seeing, like how they stack up with Civil War.
Well, the backup in Amazing Spider-Man, didn't they say that's like the other side of the story we saw in the Free Comic Book Day issue?
Yeah.
So was that pre-Civil War? I'm trying to remember.
Well, it has to be. Well, because that was Wilson Fisk out in California, and of course. at the start of Civil War, or at least at the start of the Ulysses plotline, Kingpin is just returned to New York to reestablish his criminal empire. That was 2 issues ago. This issue, it's very nice. It opens up with a nice little voiceover by Kingpin. You know, they think we're similar, you and you don't know who he's talking to until later. Says they think we're similar, you and I. People are under the illusion that I like this life, that I like having people I care about try to kill me, that I like having to kill them. And then we get cut back to where we left it off, where the car exploded, and Kingpin's saying he can't hear. He tells Turk to steal us a car. And I didn't notice Scourge was in his crew last week or whatever, but apparently Scourge is in his crew. But he makes this weird statement like, I don't want any faces I don't recognize. Meanwhile, he's got a guy wearing a mask in his crew. So yeah, he doesn't know if Janice has betrayed him or if Janice has been kidnapped. He says either way, you know, we need to kill we have to find Janice and kill who's ever he's with, because either he's betrayed me or he's been kidnapped. So good to kill either one. He strangles the guy in his car that Janice had hired because he says no strange faces. They go back to another mansion because apparently he's got several. Sure, why not? He was staying in a dirty motel the first issue. Now he's got like 3 mansions. So he's sitting by the pool. He doesn't want to clean up. He's calling his crew together. This guy says, do you want to clean up? He says, no, because I want them to see me like this. Then all of a sudden, Scourge starts shooting people. And they're like, what, Scourge? That's what you always do. But we're surprised. I guess I have no idea how Scourge is like now a villain for hire. I don't remember that ever happening. But of course, it's not Scourge, because when they rip off his Scourge costume, it's the Punisher. Because that was obvious. He's wearing a bomb, but of course, I guess he's got enough like body armor that protects him when it blows up. But of course, you know, Kingpin, who is not officially superhuman, but is certainly durable. They go into the house. The lights have cut. The one henchman that's still with Kingpin gets knifed by the Punisher. Kingpin realizes that one of his other crew member has a grenade in his mouth that, of course, waits till he's there to explode. Then Castle comes in, starts shooting everything. Fortunately, you know, Kingpin has a wooden table, which, as you know, can stop virtually any bullet. But then him and Castle get into hand-to-hand. Castle drives the knife through the wooden table that stopped all of his bullets and into Kingpin. Well, actually, it looks like what he did was he used that when Kingpin gave him a bear hug, that's what forced it in. So, but anyway, and then Castle kicks him and says, "When I pull out that knife, you'll bleed out in like 2 minutes." And then, of course, what does Kingpin do? He rips the table in half with the knife still in his chest. And then he basically chokes out Castle. And then now, does he murder Castle? No, of course not. No, because Matthew Rosenberg does not have the authority to kill Frank Castle, as Gwenpool would say. He just strings him up and then is like, now that you're awake, I'm going to go strangle you till you die. But of course, Frank Castle is never more dangerous than when he's dead. Hits Kingpin in the face with a fire log, pushes them through a window, pulls out the knife as he falls down. Of course, that's not going to kill him. Then Kingpin, while he's bleeding out, climbs up onto his roof, only to have Shield arrest him. To be continued. Bum, bum, bum. Because, of course, Janice wasn't with him, so he didn't have Janice's protection. Thumbs up. It was a good book. It's very comic booky. but it is well written, fantastically drawn, has some great tension and drama. Frank Castle, still bad at his job, but for what it's worth, we'll say, and Kingpin, you're not that good at your job either, because this is Frank Castle. He really doesn't need your speech. You can just kill him and call it a day. Okay, Castle's dead. Take off his head. Let me go to an ambulance.
It sounds good, but can we all just agree now that Wilson Fisk is some sort of superhuman or mutant or human or something?
He's something, man. He is not. I think he's been breathing that Terrigen mist when no one was looking.
Oh no.
Man. I mean, really, he gets hit by the rhino, crushes a car, and then is like just. Now he's always been strong and powerful, but it's like now he's like, or maybe it's just that Frank Castle is not as good at his job as everyone thinks.
Yeah, I know, but now that you say it, that's going to be the new mutant growth hormone. Is someone's going to find a way to get Terrigen mist in a pill form or something?
Yeah, maybe. Well, actually, what book was I reading where they did that? Oh, that was the last round of the Incredible Hulk before he got cured.
One
of his crew members had some latent genes, and they could temporarily jam him up with it. Yeah, that was wacky. Yeah, so no, absolutely. There's all sorts of nonsense in the Marvel universe. Let's face it. But Superhuman Kingpin is definitely. Well, it makes sense the guy has something going on. If nothing else, he's got a little bit of old Erskine formula going through him, or or maybe he just eats right and exercises. That's actually, that could. Well, hey. They said that in what was it? Avengers, not Avengers Academy, the Initiative one, where they were training all the teen superheroes before Avengers Academy.
Mm-hmm.
When they had Michael Van Patrick, and he was the grandson of Erskine, and they said, well, what, these notes that they threw that the government didn't think were that important, I studied, and I realized that what he was saying was that it was the special exercise regime. And eating only the proper foods in these things, and then you too could be a super soldier. And they make the joke that, are you telling me that the secret to being a super soldier is just diet and proper exercise? Yeah, so maybe Kingpin, for all his bulk, just eats well and exercises a lot.
That's right, kids. Eat your vegetables.
Wilson Fisk does, and that's why he's the Kingpin. He eats his spinach.
All right, moving on. I will get to the number ones I got this week. I'll start with Jessica. What?
Oh, I said number ones. Oh yeah, that's right. We got number ones now. Mm-hmm. I got two number ones too. Yes.
Jessica Jones number one.
This was interesting.
Yeah, oh yeah. It starts off with her getting released from the cellar, the superhuman prison.
Mm-hmm.
And no one's saying, why she's there, because I was like, wait, did I miss something?
Well, Franklin Richards decided that she was cooler when she was dysfunctional drunk, and so decided to say, that was a better show. You'll be a dysfunctional drunk again.
Well,
yay!
Well, yeah, with all the Netflix stuff, I wonder if they're trying to go back to basics with all them,
You think? Well, that was what I was saying the whole time the Netflix was on, was that, the weirdest thing is that this is such a popular thing, but of course, in the Marvel Universe, she's the mom of the Marvel Universe, so they demommed her all right.
So they release her, but there's a mix-up. The boat won't be back for 45 minutes, so she jumps in the river and swims back to New York.
No. She was trying to fly back.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because she said so close. Yeah, but she doesn't make it all the way.
Yes.
But she goes home, showers, cleans up, and who shows up, Charlie?
Misty Knight.
That's right. She's like, where's the baby?
Where is the baby?
I don't know. So
maybe we should be asking Franklin that question.
So Misty tries to force it out of her, tries to throw a punch with her cybernetic arm. Jessica catches it, throws her out. Uh, and then Jessica's listening to her messages. I'm guessing it's Carol Danvers because she says it's Carol. She says there's got to be a better way to handle all this. And if it was the other way around, you'd be out of your mind. I'm glad Carol took time out of her busy schedule.
Well, she's her good friend. Her and Jessica were very good friends. So.
But then
Bendis likes Carol, except not now. Now he hates her. I got to kill your darling. So I guess that was his take,
Well, I think he likes writing damaged women because look what he's doing to Carol. Look at Jessica Jones. He created Jessica Jones.
Oh yeah, it's like John Burns' fetish with mind control sex.
I was just listening to that super good activity today.
Yeah, man. Although, I realized that for 3 episodes we've been talking about Marvel diversity and why it's okay that DC has better sales. So we got to get a new topic this week.
So next super connectivity, we talk about clones.
Hopefully.
All right. So Jessica gets a call from a Sophie Brownlee. Said she got Jessica's name from her attorney. Looks like they're meeting for coffee. She's saying about how her husband is different. And Jessica's like, is he a mutant or an inhuman? She's like, no. She's like, he's normal, I think. She was saying, she's like, my lawyer said you're one of those kind. And she's like, you have powers. And she's saying she's not sure. Her husband, he says 8 months ago, he was married to someone else, someone with blonde hair. And they have a little girl. And he said one day last month he woke up and he was married to me, but we've been married for 11 years.
8 months ago? Gee, what happened then? I can't think of anything unstrange. You mean right when the world almost ended and no one can quite remember how it didn't?
Exactly. And then she says he said he was married to a woman named Gwen. A woman named Gwen with blonde hair.
Yeah.
You know
Gwen
what? Yeah. And then she says they had a kid named Norma. Yes. Norma. That name sounds like the feminine
version of Norman. Yeah.
Norman.
This isn't Norman.
No, I don't think. Because I don't think he'd be crying in the bathroom. I don't think Norman Osborn would be crying in the bathroom.
Well, no, and also it wouldn't. He doesn't have Osbornian hair, first off, and
well, it could just be his mind. It could be an alternate Norman Osborn in it. Body switch.
Well, yeah. Well, we'll get to that in super connectivity. There's lots of theories on who this guy could be. Although I thought it was interesting. Kind of who plays the Incredible Hulk right now?
In the movies.
Yeah.
I know.
Doesn't look at how he's drawn. Doesn't he look like that guy?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, that's something I was looking at that. I was like, huh.
Maybe a little pudgier, but yeah.
Yeah, because at first I actually always confuse him with D'Onofrio, that actor. Not so much now that D'Onofrio's done the shaved head, although works for D'Onofrio. But I used to get him and D'Onofrio. I'd see him in a movie and I wouldn't know who was who because I'm really bad like that. But yeah. But no, he looks a lot like... it might have just been a choice. I don't know if we should read too much into that. But,
yeah, I don't know. But the big clue is she says he said that Peter Parker was a liar. Peter
Parker. Yeah, well, this is an interesting thing because it's like, and then she goes into the ultimate conspiracy and all this stuff and, all these other dimensions that people come to. I did like her point about I went to Doctor Strange and he turned me away. And then she comments about Doctor Strange getting too big for his britches.
Yeah. Yes, I love that. Yeah, but no, yeah, because the woman's like, yeah, you probably think my husband's crazy, but is it impossible? It's like another dimensional thing or something. She's like gods and humans, Thor's, Hulks. She goes, Doctor Doom. She goes, where are the Fantastic Four? No one even talks about them anymore.
Well, yeah, and then that a nice little shout out right there, right at the beginning.
Hmm?
What could it mean? Find out on Super Connectivity.
But then, so then while they're sitting there, Jessica sees a figure crawling up in one of the nearby buildings. So she tells the woman she'll call her, and she takes off. And she's thinking about how that she said Doctor Strange wouldn't see her. She goes, "Guy's getting all full of himself, porn stash." So she jumps up to the roof.
She was
Jessica.
climbing up. Yeah.
Yeah, she got to the roof and she sees it's Jessica Drew.
Yep. The other Jessica.
Yes.
Who's also friends with Carol.
Mm-hmm. And she wants to know where the baby's at. And she says, I know what you're, I have a baby too. And Jessica Jones is like, oh, what, you think that we're part of a special club now?
Yeah. Well.
And once again, she wants to know if the baby alive.
Dun dun dun.
But like we said, as the issue ends, Jessica's tailing the husband, and who shows up to ask her this time, Charlie?
Apparently her ex now.
Luke Cage.
Lucas Cage, yes.
A man more people should be familiar with right now, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So what'd you think?
It was good. I'm curious where this baby's at. I'm wondering if she's like, I don't know, gave the baby away to, like a normal family.
There are 3 possibilities. Okay. You want me to run through them real quick?
Sure.
Possibility 1, which is the most likely possibility. Yeah, she gave the baby to someplace safe. She put the baby someplace safe. Got herself set up with an Agatha Harkness situation. Said, "Watch my baby, so that monsters don't eat her." Option 2. Baby was a Skrull.
Oh.
Remember when the Skrull Jarvis stole the baby?
Yes.
Did that ever actually get resolved in any book? I mean, eventually they got the baby back, but I don't remember ever them saying, "Here's how we got the baby back." So that's that. Option 3, and this is the one I think might be the case. Baby disappeared.
Oh, yeah, maybe she doesn't even know.
Maybe 8 months ago, baby disappeared after the universe ended because Franklin liked her better the old way. I don't know. Sent that baby off to the cornfield, or sent the baby off to the future because the baby's coming back.
As Cable?
No, the baby's going to be in U.S. Avengers.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Daniela Cage is all grown up in U.S. Avengers. So we got remember when that happened to Franklin? Where he went to the alternate dimension, got trained up to be a superhero, came back and was a grown-up baby?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, yeah. I'm just wondering how this timeline works out, because I believe the baby's still there in the Power Man and Iron Fist book. Because I think, because Luke and Jessica are still married over there.
Oh, well, that's another interesting... Man, timelines are so weird in these books right now. It's so hard to follow. I forgot about that.
Yeah, in the books...
They find the baby and they come back to... I don't know. Maybe they get back together after that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But right now, my money is on Franklin sent the baby to the cornfield.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, the grown-up Daniel Cage is in the U.S. Avengers. Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, that might be a setup for this. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Daniela Cage, she's gotten a lot of play. She was in. She was also in the Old Man Logan series. The one on Secret Wars World. Because she was the one that was watching Baby Hulk. Yeah, so, there's a lot out there, man. I'm going to have to see.
But, that was a big thumbs up.
Yeah. No, it was. It was a really good book. If I had bought it, it would have been my pick of the week, I think. Okay. Moving right along. Is my turn now, or?
No, I got to remember, do another book. I'll do Deadpool Back in Black #1.
Oh, that one was fun. Not
For
as
those of
fun
you
as
who,
Secret Wars, but it was fun.
yeah, it's kind of a sequel to Deadpool's Secret Wars. If anyone read that, it opens up with the, yeah, I know. It opens up with the final scene from Web of Spider-Man #1. I think it was what 86, maybe 85 or 1985 or 86, where Peter Parker uses the church bells to drive the symbiote off his body.
Well, that's
Because
not what Deadpool says happened.
yeah, I know. Because originally Peter Parker went to the Fantastic Four and Reed Richards imprisoned it, but we know how Reed Richards takes care of
He's
stuff.
not
It
very good
escaped.
at it.
No.
He is an absent-minded scientist, you know. I blame OSHA because
Mhm.
OSHA in the Marvel universe is just not on the job, and so guys like Reed Richards, they got no safety regulations to follow, so they just doing all with spit and baling wire.
Mm. But yeah. So they show the symbiote was hanging out. We knew it was in that abandoned church when it met Eddie Brock, but I guess before all that,
Well, yeah,
yeah,
because I mean, yeah, what I'm guessing we're seeing there's obviously. So if I recall correctly, so the symbiote escapes, and the symbiote goes and masquerades as Peter's costume again to join up with him again,
Mm-hmm.
and then he goes to the church bells, and then he knocks it off of himself there, and then we see it slithering down onto Eddie Brock. But maybe why do we assume those were right immediate moments? Maybe, as they're implying here, is that it hung out there for a while, and then of course after that, obviously after the adventures we're about to have, it's going to wind up back there. Because as I recall, it was a pretty beaten up church when Eddie Brock was in it in that scene. So it went from being this nice, neat church to being this torn up church, and we just saw why it got torn up because aliens.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the symbiote it tried to bond with the janitor at the church, but he couldn't take it because this group of aliens is tracking it. But it says one of the aliens says it's not like the parasite's gonna find someone crazy enough to help it. Cue Deadpool in the middle of an adventure with Machine Man.
And
I
for
want
what
to
it's
see
worth,
this
this
because
is clearly these aliens' first time on Earth.
mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see this. Yeah, it says check out the tomb robbing adventures of Deadpool and Machine Man, time archaeologist.
Yeah. I'll look for it. That's probably. I'm sure Gwenpool has read it.
And they're fighting Dancing Macabre.
Oh yeah,
She
Dance
was part of the
Macabre.
night. Yeah, wasn't she part of the night shift for a while?
Oh, I don't know. I've only read her Marvel Universe, her Marvel Handbook entry,
Okay.
and that was mostly
That.
because she's naked in it. So
Ah! Oh, jeez.
she's
Too
one of
much
these super.
polyester.
It's like Cloud, where they don't really have a costume. It's just strategically placed things over their things. So
Things over
I
the
was a young.
things, yes. Yeah, the only time I remember seeing her was part of the night shift with like the shroud and all them. So she's trying to control them, but you have to see her. So Deadpool like gouged out his own eyes. But she takes control of the Machine Man, and he's about to put a hurting on Deadpool until the symbiote comes back and joins back up with Deadpool.
And he thwips.
And I love all the 80s references in this book. Like Machine Man says, "My MS-DOS system is corrupted."
Yes.
The footnote is MS-DOS is a sophisticated command line operating system used in most computers.
Yes, it is. The best of the best. No question.
But yeah, Deadpool says he feels stronger, faster. So he takes out all the henchmen, and then we get the little flashback pages where he remembers being in the Secret Wars and discovering the symbiote, but leaving it for someone else to discover. And so he wraps up Dancing Macabre. Then we see the aliens come looking for it. But yeah, like you said, the last page, Deadpool's using, he's going all Spider-Man in the symbiote there. And next issue looks like he's meeting Power Pack.
Yay, Power Pack! Can't wait.
Who we'll get to later in Spider-Man 2099, and there's a big reveal there.
Yeah. Didn't get to read that one yet. Okay. So,
but yeah, this was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Thumbs up. This was close to my pick of the week, but not yet. But it was very good. Thumbs up.
Very good. Okay, I'm going to go into Squadron Supreme number 12, which opens up with a great scene of Zarda versus Zarda, where we've got good Zarda versus evil Zarda. Evil Zarda still has all her superpowers. Evil Zarda still has all her superpowers. Good Zarda is like just Kung Fu Master Wonder Woman. So, and of course, because it's the Marvel Universe, Kung Fu beats your powers. Because Kung Fu, like hypnotism, is really secretly the strongest power there is. Basically, they're fighting. Mordred sort of comes to. It says, "Yeah, waking up, head still spinning. Could joke that I'm seeing double, but." Then the Shield comes in with their laser guns. Evil Zarda basically cuts the Shield agents in half with her sword. Then her and Mordred jump through a dimensional warp. Then we get Zarda, a good Zarda. She picks up the gun, and when the Shield agents come to arrest her, they of course assume she killed the Shield agents. So she shoots a hole in the floor and jumps underneath. Jim Hammond goes into the sewers to search for her, but of course she's real good at hiding. And even Spider-Man couldn't find her because of course she's got Kung Fu power, and Kung Fu power is the greatest superpower of all. We cut back to Blur and Thundra, who are locked up with super science handcuffs as Jim Hammond is trying to talk to them. Of course, the Blur says, Agent Hammond, this may sound weird seeing as we fought the last time we saw each other, but even then, back then I wanted to say, it's an honor to meet you. He says, son, Blur, is it? Yes, sir, that's my name. I have to ask, are you insane? You executed Namor, which sure got my ire, him being an old friend. Now, how many times has Jim Hammond tried to execute Namor? So let's call a shelter half an entrenching tool here, Jim. You know what a total dweeb Namor can be, so don't be all high and muddy. And that was just the overture for your Squadron Supreme. You've been killing and wrecking and wreaking havoc worldwide since then for the good of the Earth, although the jury's still out on that claim. Thing is, the jury won't take long to deliberating the murder of a Shield agent today by one of yours. So when you talk about how it's an honor to meet me, I've got a question if your super speed has shaken some screws loose. Says, okay, sure. I know we're in trouble, Thunder and I, but I've done some reading up. You were this Earth's very first superhero. And Spider-Man says, yeah, well, don't let Namor hear you say that. Oh, wait, he can't. You murdered him. We cut to Nighthawk and Ulysses and Atalan, and then he sees himself apparently fighting Hyperion. Bum bum bum. As his vision, then we cut to Hyperion and Dr. Light, who are in this ethereal form, watching everything going on, and then they're pulled away. You can see that it seems like Spider-Man senses something, but then he says, I guess you better go find a broom. Then we cut back to the past when Atlantis still lived, and we see that at the time of the Squadron Supreme attack, Atuma the Warlord was coming to offer his services to Namor because the one thing that united them was both a love of Atlantis. And Atlantis had many enemies now, and we need to protect it. But then the Squadron attacks, and Hyperion and Dr. Light are watching this. They don't know what to do and don't know what even they can do. And they say, well, think about it. We know exactly what occurred, but at the same time, we have no idea what's going to happen next. Dun, dun, dun. Real exciting book. I still love the Squadron. It is a great superhero book. If you like team superhero books, you can't go wrong with Squadron Supreme. Thumbs up.
Awesome. Cool.
Okay.
All right. Let's get to the Spider-Man books. I'll start with Spider-Man 2099, number 16. It opens up with J. Jonah Jameson with Director Fury. He's putting together, I guess, a holographic headline or something about all the heroes getting captured. Because he's telling Fury he's talked to the president and he's scheduled Captain America's execution for 7 a.m.
Now this is the 193-year-old J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh, we'll get there. They explain that, Charlie. So then they show Captain America in the lab. And the husband's like, you can't be Roberta. She died in the the super soldier serum trials. And she's like, she says, you're not her. And she says, who else would I be? And he says, a Skrull. A few reportedly managed to slip through the war a few years ago. They could be hiding anywhere.
A Skrull. Of course.
Mm-hmm. So then they show Miguel trying to get all the heroes.
Wait, a few years ago they attacked again?
That's what Roberta's husband said. But remember, the timeline this future timeline keeps changing. So,
well, honestly, the Skrulls attack Earth like every couple of years, so that's not that unusual. Sometimes they were subtle, sometimes they were a little more overt.
They're probably gonna come every 5 minutes now because they're like, oh, that maniac Reed Richards is gone. Let's go.
Yeah, well, yeah, probably now, man, because it's like Tony Stark. Yeah, we're not afraid of him. He's no Reed Richards.
So, the heroes are getting ready. Doctor Strange. They don't know who the CEO is, so Doctor Strange uses a spell and gets the image of the CEO out of Jake Gallows' head, and Miguel's like, it's Jameson. He's like, J. Jonah Jameson, and they're like, who is that? And Hercules says, the former mayor of New York and publisher of the Daily Bugle, a newspaper. And Hawkeye's like, a what now? And Hercules says, once upon a time, the news was published every day on sheets of paper. And Hawkeye says, you're kidding. When? The 1700s?
About that, yeah.
So even Miguel's like, how can Jameson still be alive? Is he a clone? Or Doctor Strange is like, it's possible it could be mystic in origin. And Miguel's like, why would Jameson be involved in mysticism? He's like, you know what? Never mind. He says if Jameson's the CEO, story, he's like, it
helps the story.
Yeah, so he's like, well, that helps his plan. So the heroes storm the floating headquarters where I guess I don't know if it's supposed to be the SHIELD helicarrier, but it looks like a giant floating building. But guess who gets to knock on the front door very hard, Charlie? Hercules.
Hey, Hercules.
So the heroes start ending up fighting Power Pack, but it's all a distraction so Miguel can get inside, and he comes face to face with Jameson. He asks, because once he gets to Jameson, he says, how are you still alive? And Jameson says, you have to ask, you were responsible for it. And Miguel says, what are you talking about? And Jameson says, you did this, Parker. I should be long dead. That bullet should have killed me. And Miguel's like, what the shock are you talking about? And Jameson's like, you're pretending you don't know about the assassin? He's like, about how my wife begged you to find a way to save me? And Miguel says, wife, but Marla died. And Jameson says, my third wife, you idiot, Liz. And Miguel's like, Liz Allen? He says, of course, Liz Allen. You were at the wedding. And Miguel's like, but she's half your age. And he says, Right, because a wall crawler in a spider suit is going to question something as unlikely as a May December marriage. And he's just going. Jameson's just going nuts. He says, "What did you do, Parker? You did a deal with a demon, didn't you?" He says, "Gave me eternal life so I could watch all my loved ones die while I keep going." And
It sounds like something Parker
Miguel
would
says,
do.
"I'm not." Yeah, but Miguel says, "I'm not Peter. And how did you know he was Spider-Man?" And Jameson says, "Because I pulled the mask off his dead body. That's how." He says, "Obviously you're time traveling, so congratulations. I just told you your future. A small gift due." And Miguel pulls off his mask. Jameson's like, "You're not Parker?" And he's like, "Who are you?" He says, "In a different time I worked for you, but that's not important." He's like, "But one thing, I am a time traveler. So is Captain America. I want you to set her free." And Jameson's like, "Or what? Or what?" But then the heroes are still fighting Power Pack, but Julie Powers gets stabbed through the heart, and she resumes her true form as a Skrull. Charlie.
Oh no! Dang Skrulls!
All three of Power Pack are Skrulls.
Dun dun dun. Then why were they so worried about Alex? Because that was an off-camera scene.
Well, I know. Well, then Miguel attacks Jameson, and Jameson's a Skrull too. And
they're all
Jameson's
Skrulls.
going nuts.
A lot of them.
Jameson said, This can't be. It can't. And Miguel's like, "Of course it can." He's like, "Don't you get it? You were under deep cover, so deep that they brainwashed you, so even you wouldn't know."
Ah, the old.
Yeah.
Oh, the old Secret Invasion Part 2. Because it worked so well the last time. Actually, it did work pretty well the last time. So, I mean, actually, you reusing a plan that almost worked. Not actually the worst idea ever,
Mm-hmm. So, so I guess, Jameson's all in shock, discovering he's a Skrull, so he tells Miguel we can take Captain America and just go. He's like, "I'll let Fury know not to stop you." So then they show Miguel with Captain America, and Doctor Strange is taking them to the time portal, and Miguel's saying about it, "I guess Ulysses' vision turned out right after all. Maybe your history books are wrong." And Doctor Strange is like, "I wouldn't be so sure. My warning stands. You shouldn't get too tangled up with him. His visions come at a price." So Miguel's talking about going back and maybe setting Ulysses straight before things go too wrong. And Doctor Strange says, "Good luck." And she says, "What about Jameson?" And Miguel says, "Oh, he'll be attended to." And Doctor Strange says, "Attended to? Wonder what the shock that means." Last page, Charlie. Jameson's going, "This isn't over by a long shot." But then someone appears behind him who I guess is going to attend to him. Who is it, Charlie?
The Punisher 2099.
No, it's right? A brilliant crossover. It's Warda Wilson, Deadpool 2099.
Oh my goodness. Bum bum bum. Interesting.
Thumbs up.
Yes. Pretty cool, Spider-Man.
All right,
okay.
All right, I guess I'll get to my last one on my own. Amazing Spider-Man number 19. Yeah. Oversized, people. It's $4.99.
Oh, I got one of those too.
Mm-hmm. So it opens with J. Jonah Jameson, the real one, on TV talking about this.
How do you know that?
Well, it appears to me.
Yeah.
talking about the new U technologies, and then we get the Jackal and his clones of himself and the clone of Gwen Stacy.
His dupes, as he calls them.
Yep. And then at Mount Sinai Hospital, J. Jameson ain't looking too good.
Nope, he ain't.
So Aunt May calls Peter. That's the big theme of this issue. Is like May and J. Jonah Jameson keep pressuring Peter. They're like, why can't Jay get the new U treatment? It worked for one of your employees. And Peter's all apprehensive because after
he doesn't want to actually be honest with the people he loves. And you see, this is what the thematic here is Peter. All of the problems that happen in this issue are all because Peter never told Aunt May who he was. Because Peter is a selfish little boy who is not treating his aunt who raised him with any respect. Doesn't trust her to have this knowledge. So everything that goes bad is all that dunderheaded Parker's own fault, as Otto would say.
Yes, Charlie, but she knew his identity once upon a time, and during the first Secret War, she took a bullet because of it. So,
well, yeah, because
world
Peter told everybody else in the world, not because he told Aunt May. Fact of the matter is, Aunt May and Mary Jane knew about it for a while before that. At least Mary Jane knew. You know, it's like people were aware. It's just that he decided to tell everybody, and that's what backfired. Aunt May could know just fine without too much trouble, but Peter.
I mean,
because it's not even like he has to tell J. Jonah Jameson. He just has to tell Aunt May, and Aunt May can go, "Oh, okay. I understand that what you're doing is very important, Peter."
Yeah, I mean, you have a point, because he did sell his marriage to the devil to save her, so at least he could do is tell her, but she should figure it out by now. I mean, come on, Spider-Man is his bodyguard.
Well, we said that just before Secret Wars, that the way she was acting and talking, it seemed like she knew. And so maybe she does know, but she's a little and maybe that's why she's so upset in these scenes when we get a little later on, is because she knows dang well what he's doing. It's like, just freaking tell me, you idiotic child. My husband is dying. You're out doing this thing, which I'm sure is very important and very good and very sweet and lovely. But you know what, buddy? You got other responsibilities too. All your great power with great responsibilities, you're not really putting any responsibility on those you care for. I'm sorry. I'm on my anti-Spider-Man rant.
Yeah.
And what happens in the actual
book? Right, but Jay kind of figures his time his days are numbered, so he asked Peter to go to his apartment and get this clock that's an old family heirloom. The first Jameson in America brought it from Ireland, and he wants to give it to Jonah. So, of course, Peter gets it, webs it to his back, and web swings off. So something's going to happen to that clock, Char.
Yeah, because it's not like he could just, run across town.
Take a cab.
Well, I mean, hey, I can give that the cab's a little weird, but he can run real fast. Maybe not as fast as Spider Swing. He can run real fast. I mean, he's got something that's very precious. I don't know. And of course, he wasn't planning on getting distracted. But even then, maybe re-web up your stuff before you get into this mess. Anyway, so what's the mess he gets into this time, Philip?
What is this? A crane? A crane at a construction site's about to tip over. So he no
OSHA in the Marvel universe.
So he shoots out web lines for both hands, and one to the building, one to a building, one to the crane, and he's basically holding the crane up. But
he's doing the Captain America.
It takes like an hour.
Yes.
Yeah, but it takes about an hour. It takes about an hour. So of course the webbing dissolves on his back, and the clock hits in a box, hits the ground.
Yeah, because and of course again because he couldn't, once he has it, shoot an extra webbing and then tie the webbing together. It's thunderheaded Parker. Otto would never have let that happen.
I saw that crane go down. I was like, oh no, did the crane fall on the clock?
Yeah. Well, no, nothing so obvious, but might as well have. Because what happens when he gives Jonah what happens when he gets back?
Well, from the looks on Aunt May and Jonah's faces, I think we're safe to assume that J. Jameson is no longer on this earth.
Yeah, but is that a problem for new technologies?
I don't know. The Clone Conspiracy #1 comes out next week, so I guess we'll see.
Yeah. As we say, Jameson is never more dangerous than when he's dead. But But what happened? But what happened? What's
yeah.
in the box, Phil? What's in the box?
What, the clock? The clock, but it's broken.
Yeah, it's broken. Because Peter was all just being Peter. That's why no one likes you, Spider-Man. That's why nobody likes you. Not Mary Jane, not Aunt May. Then the whole, okay, go use the new technology. Wait, why is no one listening to me? Why is no one answering the phone? It's like, idiot.
Yeah. But then the backup story, I wanted to get your take on this. It takes place at the same time, like behind the scenes in that the story we got in the Free Comic Book Day story.
It's not that
the
far
Jackal
behind.
meets.
I mean, oh no. Okay, so yeah, so the original story opens up from Peter's perspective, where when the Rhino attacks, and again, someone else who is dang well aware of your Spider-Man secret identity, you idiot, Parker. You can just tell how much Otto has always been right about Peter Parker now that he's actually in this. Where would he be without Otto?
But so yeah, it's the Jackal meets with the Kingpin, and he tells him, I have something you want, and it's his wife Vanessa, and he says, how is this possible? He's like, is she? And the Jackal's like, a clone? No, this is something new, light years ahead of my old work. Call it a reanimation. The process brings subjects back better than before, with all defects screened out and every memory restored.
Mm-hmm. And what does Wilson do?
He snaps her neck and says, that wasn't my wife. That was an abomination. My wife is dead, and for defiling her memory, Jackal, you can join her.
Yep, pretty much.
Yep, and then so the Jackal calls in the Rhino, like we saw in the Free Comic Book Day story. He tells him to kill the Kingpin, and like we talked about, Wilson Fisk is holding his own kind of with the Rhino.
Yeah, a Hulk villain.
He takes
a Hulk villain. And the Kingpin is like, now you can say that maybe the Rhino is pulling his punches a bit here, because he is, you can see that he is very reluctant to attack Kingpin, but because he doesn't want to kill him.
But he puts him through. He puts him through a wall and slams him into a car.
Yes. So to that extent, we will say that yes, Wilson Fisk is clearly not human. Clearly is something a lot more than merely the big fat man.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's been doing. He's got some kind of something. I don't know what, man. He is at least Captain America level right now.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we know that because he actually, in Acts of Vengeance, he actually beat the Red Skull in like a one-on-one, hand-to-hand combat match. When the Red Skull was all super soldiered up. So it's like, he's actually been at this level for quite some time. He has been.
Yeah, that wasn't even. Yeah. I remember that wasn't even Acts of Vengeance. That was that Streets of Poison storyline from Captain America.
No,
right after Acts of Vengeance, I think. Yeah, no. Because I remember, because Kingpin and Red Skull were fighting over like the drug trade or whatever. So they met at, what was it?
Okay.
It was either Yankee Stadium or Shea Stadium. It was one of them. Yeah, and they fought on the field. Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, Kingpin kicked his Nazi butt by sitting on him.
Yeah, the King. Yeah. I was gonna say the Kingpin fell on him and said, "All I have to do is like put my thumbs through your eye sockets."
Yeah, well, he basically did a mountain on him, Well, George R. R. Martin steals all of his ideas from old Marvel comics because we know that he's been reading them for decades. So yeah, when the mountain does that, was purely the Kingpin. He was imagining the Kingpin doing that. Yeah. So really cool with it's a great storyline there, and of course the best part is when he says that, if I can't defeat you, perhaps I'll just have to have Spider-Man do it.
Yes.
Yes. But what's interesting to me is, okay, I'm wondering, because this is like what I'm saying. So when we open up this storyline, he is in San Francisco and he's all being a legitimate businessman. Now, when we open up the Kingpin storyline, he's back in New York trying to be a supervillain again. And it gets me wondering, like, is the reason he's back in New York part of him needing to take out the Jackal?
Maybe that's the reason they wrote it in there.
Yeah. Very interesting, however you want to slice it. But I enjoyed the book, even though Parker's a dunderheaded lummox.
Yeah, me too. Thumbs up.
And it gives us a lot to talk about on super connectivity. And in fact, I came up with the craziest theory yet about what's going to be happening with Otto when we get to super connectivity. Oh, you're going to love this one. Because this is like, of course that's what happens. Okay. Was that your last book on your own?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll do my last book on my own, which is The Champions, #1. Now, what's the one thing I say about superpowered teenagers, Phil?
They shouldn't have superpowers?
Oh, you shouldn't make them superheroes. So what do a bunch of superpowered teenagers do? They form a team of superheroes. So we open up with Kamala Khan at her family's house eating dinner. And it's, everyone's being a very nice domestic scene of brothers and sisters fighting, yada, yada, yada. And then we cut back to 5 days ago and Kamala Khan. And again, this is this thing about Kamala Khan. You see her like doing their super invigorating. She has superhuman strength because she is lifting a subway train. We do see that her uniform is fully expanded and enlarged, and all without, as far as we know, any access to unstable molecules. They're fighting the Wrecking Crew. They beat the Wrecking Crew. We see that Kamala is embiggened. She has stepped on somebody's hot dog car. And she wants everyone, and she's like saying to Sam Wilson, well, we got to fix the tracks. And Sam Wilson is like, none of us are engineers. We don't do that. Also, there's like unions, which is actually true, which is actually kind of like the most true aspect of this is what Sam Wilson is saying, which is like, there's actually a process and a procedure in place to do these repairs. We don't do them because then we would do a really bad repair to these things, and then more people would really die horribly later because these trains would go off the rack because we did a good enough laserized fix on stuff, and anyway, but she's like, no, you don't care, and she storms off in a huff as a freaking teenage girl is bound to do. And Sam Wilson says, did I just watch an Avenger quit? Again, says Thor. Then we cut to her room. She's looking at her Ms. Marvel uniform in the closet, and then she texts. Who does she text? Oh, you didn't read it. She texts Rocket and Webbs.
No.
And and they say, yeah, we'll get together, and then they meet at the Brooklyn Bridge, and Nova says, why do we always got to meet by you guys? He says, well, because you're the only one of us that can fly. Also, you have rocket powers. So they all get together and they're talking about, we need to form a team. We should do something together. We get to see that Nova and Spidey quit the Avengers first because they don't want to be fighting with the Civil War, blah, 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 blah. Because, of course, why actually talk about how you could solve things when you could just run away because you're a teenager and you're a child and you don't understand the complexities of the adult world. Yep. They remember how they're all great because they once fought a mole monster. So we can work together. And they decide, well, let's get another teenager who's an idiot, bigger idiot than all three of us combined. Amadeus Cho, who once happily helped the Hulk destroy Manhattan. Like, thought that was a cool idea. Let's help the Hulk blow up all of Manhattan, demolish the entirety of New York City. You want to know why they let Hawkeye go? Because the Hulk destroyed New York City. Okay, so yeah, he is the dumbest of the lot. As we get here, but he's trying to save people in a mine because he just burst in. So I'll save the people in the mine, and they're like, yeah, let's not cause a bigger cave-in while you're at it, Schmendrick. And then they work together. Ms. Marvel and Shrinkins finds the miners, wraps them up, and Nova flies them out before everything collapses. Then they're like, okay, now we need another member. And they come and they go to Georgetown, Washington, D.C., and the flying meat wagon, and they say, it's very inconspicuous. Well, once it lands. Also, they're all eating, hamburgers or Cuban sandwiches, whatever they're eating. And then they go and they ring the doorbell of the door, and of course it's Vision's house. And Amadeus is like, "Hey, we're here to see your daughter Viv," and Vision's like, "Okay, that's fine." And they all start phasing through everything, and Viv comes up, and Amadeus shrinks back down, and he's like, "Oh, I need someone almost as smart as me." Ha ha ha! God, what an idiot! Preening buffoon. And then Viv shows, because they say find all the most recent, most important threats, and of course, as luck would have it, there is a Joker calling himself Pagliacci. As luck would have it, there's a Joker. Speaking to a shaded villain who is buying, kidnapped women who have been painted because it's all about branding. Because sure, white slavery, that sounds fun. The heroes come, they bust up Pagliacci's thing. He goes to murder all the kids. And like what I have to say, and again, this is why these kids are stupid. Okay? The Hulk is like, oh, the Hulk will save them, but he can't get enough leverage on the thing. So, how about the guy who can fly and has superhuman strength, instead of lifting it up out of the water, pushes it down to the ocean floor so that the Hulk can then jump up? Because that's more practical. Pagliacci takes someone hostage because he's just a low-level guy. He's the Joker. He's got a gun. He's got no weapons. I mean, he's got no superpowers. He's just a bad guy with a gun who's dressing like a freaking idiot. And then one of the women he kidnapped is dead, and the Hulk basically throws him through a brick wall. But I guess we're assuming he lives somehow, because I guess he didn't throw him that hard through the brick wall. Maybe he did have some kind of superpowers. I don't know. We'll go along with it. But then Ms. Marvel's like, it's not our job to kill him. We want him dead, but that's not how we do things. And then she gets her whole, impassioned soapbox speech, people with power punching down, taking lives when they don't have to. And this is actually a good scene here. Meeting unarmed perps, even unarmed kids with lethal firepower. That's the world we're inheriting, where violence does all the talking. But we can be better than that. We have to start enforcing justice without unjust force, which is great. And then we flash all the other teen superheroes currently out there. And everyone's like, yay, the champions. It's a good book. It hits all of the reasons why teenagers are bad at superheroing. These kids are going to be growing up real fast, I'm sure. Because they all are whiny and preachy and probably voting for Jill Stein or some nonsense. Because it's like, oh God, it's like, when people have mortgages and you're talking to a teenager, all you want to do is hit them. You just want to hit them hard. It's like, you have no idea what the world is, you little child. And God help you that someday you might not find out. One hopes that you will actually be able to live this life of ignorant bliss forever. But we as adults know from history that no, you are never going to do it. Not saying that the heroes are good, because honestly, I think all the heroes are freaking stuck in extended adolescence as well. But you give a teenager superpowers, and it's just all the worse. But big thumbs up for the book. I enjoyed it greatly, even as I tear it apart. Well, sometimes you love something, but you still gotta call a shelter half an entrenching tool. It was just crazy bad. I mean, it's not crazy bad. It's a crazy good story. It's so well written. See, that's the thing. It's really well written, and they get the voice of teenagers perfectly, and that's what's annoying about it. It's so really believable. Yeah, I totally see every choice, every action being made by these teenagers makes perfect logical sense. And that's why it's a great story. As much as you want to just smack these kids. Oy! Okay, what book do you want to do next, Phil?
Let's do my pick of the week, Invincible Iron Man number 14.
As luck would have it, that's my pick of the week as well. Because it's a grown-up book for grown-ups.
Yes, it is.
It is, man. It is a really good book. You want to give us the rundown?
Sure. It opens up with Tony Stark watching the news and everyone talking about basically everything that's happened in Civil War so far, with especially focused on Hawkeye, Clint Barton, who's the polls are showing that approval for Clint Barton's acquittal is now at 94%. Well,
yeah, because he killed the Hulk, who destroyed people's lives. You can, as Sinestro has learned, you can do a lot without killing someone. You can really destroy a person's life without killing them just fine. As I'm sure Sinestro would say, you'd be surprised what you can live through. Remember Sinestro and his ring that can't kill, but he's still the fascist dictator of an entire planet? Yeah. Nobody likes you, Incredible Hulk. You're no Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah, so Mary Jane comes in and asks Tony what she can do, and he says he needs to find an open meeting, an AA meeting.
Yeah, essentially.
And he doesn't want to run into Carol Danvers. It never does say where he goes, though, does it? Like what city or whatever he goes to.
Does it? No. Well, yeah, it's random city number 4, and it could have even been in the city he was in. It's just that he's going to a different. He's going to a different AA meeting than he normally does. But of course, what happens?
Well, of course, Carol Danvers shows up because she was trying to avoid Tony Stark.
Yes, they both went to different meetings, and they wound up going to the same meeting. When are those two crazy kids just going to kiss and get it over with?
Well, like you said, this was a grown-up story. Instead of punching each other, they actually stood around and talked. They both said, please stand down. Stand down because it's going to get ugly the next time we meet. But they actually did stand. They actually did stand and talk, Charlie.
I know, and unfortunately, Tony is being still very pig-headed about it, because it's like Tony is talking, but he's not listening. And like he says, you just think you know everything. He says, "Well, I do know everything." It's like, no, you actually don't. And you know what the real. Honestly, do you know what it really seems to me like it is in this? Is like what bugs Tony is that someone is smarter than him. That because Tony's always, if I just look at all the data, I'll know what's going to happen next. And here's someone who is literally looking at all the data and saying, here's what's going to happen next. And Tony's intimidated by that. Because if you remember, the whole Civil War thing in the first place was because on the same level that, now in that case, Reed had done like the whole math, broke it out, which we saw later. And But Tony was like in the same boat. It's like, yeah, if we don't do this, then this is what's going to happen. It's very clear that what the outcome is going to be. But now that someone else can do it better than him, it scares the heck out of him. You know what I mean?
Well, I was just thinking, I wonder if Tony's like in the middle of like a breakdown, between Rhodey's death and his company's on the verge of collapse, and then he really needed to get to a meeting. I wonder if he's having some kind of, like not a nervous breakdown, but something where like that's going to be the reason why he steps down as Iron Man at the end of Civil War.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think absolutely that's what's going on. He is trying to walk. I mean, he wants to walk away. He doesn't like, it's not fun anymore. And I think that if there's going to be a thematic for Civil War 2, it's that Tony realizes it's not fun anymore. That his prolonged adolescence is now coming to an end. And Tony realizes it's time for him to grow up. And, for what it's worth, we have him reconnecting with his biological mother at the end of this episode, which is kind of a weird scene as well. But it is this idea that, what?
They don't actually, he actually doesn't see her because she shows up she shows up and Friday tells her, there's been a development. Oh, yeah. Haven't you seen the news? And she's like, what news? And it's like, to be continued.
Yeah. And Civil War 2. Yeah, but I think we know that what that is that's the fight we just... I was assuming that's the fight we just saw where, with the Captain... And then we know that later they just let everyone go. From Captain Marvel, that is just like, okay, well, we're just going to let everyone go. So, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, so maybe this could be something that happens in the next one. But, yeah. But yes, I think definitely Tony is the guy who's... I do think this is about Tony's growth because, that's the thing of it is like the failure of Tony Stark in this is pretty straightforward and obvious. And, what we kind of need to see here is Tony coming to terms with his failure as a superhero. Because I do think that's what this is about, is his failure as a superhero. But that's my take on it. I don't know. But I liked it. Thumbs up. And like I said, it's my pick of the week. Exactly what the Tony Stark plotline is going to be, we're not sure. But it should be interesting.
Oh, yeah, I'm in complete agreement. Great issue. Thumbs up. My pick of the week.
Okay, and that gets us to our last book, which I did like as well. And, honestly, had Invincible Iron Man not been so amazing, this could have been a pick of the week. This is actually a pretty good book. We're opening up with Doctor Strange fighting Mr. Misery, because he has to have a comic book name, which is the tentacled, white-faced monster that he had created out of all of the suffering. But of course, this creature now feeds on suffering and wants to devour suffering, but wants to devour Stephen Strange's suffering the most. Stephen Strange gets to be all doctoring up with people. And then we find out that when Stephen gets to the bar with no doors, he's talking to Chandu, and Chandu basically says, yeah, Mordu was here. He wanted to reconnect, as he says. We then see that Mordu he goes, takes over someone's apartment, tells the woman that she can stay, and then we're not quite sure what he's going to do to her, but then Dormammu shows up and does something even worse, basically uses her body as a vessel, and essentially says, you are here to kill Strange, not to indulge your carnal desires, as it were. And then we get back to Mordu facing Strange, because Strange is going to look for Mordu, but then Mordu just knocks on his door, which saves everyone a lot of time. We see the guy from Up saying freaking hipsters are dressing like druids now. I hate the village. I assume that's supposed to be the guy from Up. I don't know who that's supposed to be. But he looks like a short little white-haired guy, and he just reminds me. I looked at him and said, "Is that the guy from Up?" Anyway, they go to the fighting. Mordu has all his powers, but and it's like because he was basically hiding out in the dark dimension the whole time that the Empirical was killing this dimension. And then, Steven's got all of his magical items with him because that's where all the magic is left, is in all these little items where the magic is hiding. And he throws a magic apple at him, and Mordu's like, "Really? You're attacking me with magic apples? This is even worse than I had expected." Steven's cloak protects him, but then he can't get out of his cloak, and then his cloak makes him fall through the earth to... Where's he go?
Oh, Nightmare's Realm.
Yeah, the Realm of Nightmares, because it's Tuesday. Oh, Doctor Strange. And then, because everyone's out for a piece of Strange, because they know he's depowered. And like it always happens, as soon as the villains find out you don't got your powers left, time to cause some trouble. Okay, thumbs up for me on that book. It was a good read, a fun read. I really enjoyed it. I like where Doctor Strange is at right now with these, with a world without magic. And basically, I like that he's just got to carry all this gear now because all magic is left in all these items until magic can return. The only way he can do magic is with these old magical relics. So he's got to carry the relics with him, which I think is a very cool affectation for the scene. So really enjoyed it. Big thumbs up for Doctor Strange. Number 1, Blood in the Ether starts now. Because all the villains smell the blood.
Actually,
yes.
Actually, it's number 12, but yeah, they stuck that big number 1 in the red box on top.
Oh, look at that! So they're doing a double number. Look at what they're doing to us now, Phil.
False advertising.
Well, you know what? Because they know number 1 sell, but they also know that hey, the people like it when you keep the original numbering too. So now everybody's happy. Okay. Is that enough about comic books for 1 week, Phil?
Yeah. Follow us later in the week to Super Connectivity. But if you want to discuss any Marvel comics with us, you can always email us, marvelroundup@gmail.com. On Facebook, we're All New Marvel Roundup. Give us a like there. On Twitter, we are @Marvel_Roundup. Follow us there. And we have our own Instagram, Marvel Roundup. And Charlie, where can people talk to you?
You can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And, of course, you can follow me on Twitter @CharlieEsser. That's CharlieEesser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle for quality. And listen for me and Phil next week, later in the week, on Super Connectivity, as well as listen to me on both the Gamma Cast on the 80s Reboot Overdrive and coming soon, the Cage Cast, the Luke Cage podcast for Nuff Said, where I will be talking about the new series with Maz Manzoor, who is my new co-host on GammaCast. So it's all getting crazy now. I'm all over the place. Almost as much as Phil is all over the place. Oh, and of course, catch me on World's Finest Comics, where I do my Marvelous review. And that's all. That's everywhere I am, Phil.
Yeah. Okay. You're a busy man. I was gonna say, welcome to my world.
Yeah. That's fun, man.
So anyone, you can get a hold of me to talk any Marvel or DC. NightwingPDP@gmail.com. On Twitter, I'm @NightwingPDP. Check me out on Before the Bat and the upcoming Legends of DC with many people, including Charlie Esser.
Oh yeah, I'm on that one too.
That's right. See, you're busier than you thought.
We'll see how long Zachary can put up with.
All right. How long you put up with him? All right, but that is it. I think next week I have about the same size pile of books.
Fun.
We'll come back. We'll come back. We'll guide you through all of the fun Civil War and everything else. But like I said, follow us on all the social medias or email us, because remember, we want to be friends to all of you, unless your name is Peter Parker. Good night.
Good night.